Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, just in your own head. Do you ever wonder if your habits behind closed doors are actually helping your health or silently working against it? Have you noticed changes in your energy, mood, or even how you sleep? And thought, is this just part of getting older? Or is something else going on? And here's the toughest one. Are you afraid to even talk about this topic with your doctor because you think it's embarrassing? Or maybe you've been told it doesn't matter anymore? If you're over 60 and still masturbating, this is not a judgment. This is a wake up call. Hi, I'm Dr. Sophia Mils. I've spent more than 25 years helping men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s reclaim their confidence, vitality, and dignity when it comes to their health, especially sexual health. And here's what most men don't realize: your body changes drastically after 60. Hormones shift, prostate tissue evolves, your circulation, sleep, testosterone, even your brain's dopamine response. They all interact with how, when, and why you masturbate. So, yes, it does matter, a lot more than you've been told. I want to tell you about Robert. Robert is 67, a retired truck driver from Ohio. 2 years ago, he came into my office feeling tired, foggy, and off. He wasn't sleeping well and said he felt like he'd lost his spark. He didn't drink, didn't smoke, and stayed fairly active. But when I asked about his sexual habits, he got quiet. Eventually, he admitted, "I still do it, Doc, every night. Helps me sleep." That was his routine: TV off, lights out, and a quick release before bed. Sounds harmless, right? But when we looked deeper, his testosterone was low, his dopamine receptors were dulled, his prostate was mildly inflamed, and his cortisol levels were off the charts. What's more, the habit he thought was helping him sleep was actually overactivating his sympathetic nervous system, meaning it was tricking his brain into thinking it was in go mode, not rest. Because honestly, most doctors don't talk about this. They either say, "It's natural, don't worry about it," or they shame you for even bringing it up. But here's the truth. After 60, your body's entire relationship with stimulation, pleasure, recovery, and performance changes. What used to work might now be hurting you. I've had dozens of men like Robert, men who quietly carried the habit for comfort, out of boredom, or to keep the pipes clear, only to discover it was slowly draining their energy, worsening their prostate symptoms, and throwing off their natural hormone rhythms. Let's talk about something rarely mentioned in polite conversation. When you climax, your prostate contracts. This is a normal part of male physiology, but in older men, especially those with BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia, these contractions can become problematic if they're too frequent or happen during inflammation. A patient of mine named Terrence, 72, retired engineer, came in with constant pressure in his lower abdomen. He said, "I feel like I always need to go, even when I just went." Turns out his prostate was irritated, not from infection or cancer, but from chronic, daily contractions. He'd been self-soothing through masturbation every day to fall asleep. It was only after we reduced that frequency, added proper anti-inflammatory support, and adjusted his nighttime routine, that his urgency went away. I'm not saying masturbation is bad. I'm saying that after 60, the way your body responds to it is very different. Remember that dopamine spike you used to get in your 20s? It's not the same anymore. Your brain becomes less responsive to the reward, especially if the stimulation is frequent and without a deeper emotional connection. This creates a strange cycle. You do it to feel better, but it leaves you feeling flat, tired, and unmotivated. So you do it again, hoping it'll help. And the cycle continues. This is what I call the drain and dull pattern. Over time, it can lower your testosterone, increase your emotional stress, and make you feel even more disconnected from intimacy, or even from yourself. This is something I hear often, especially from widowers or divorced men. You might be thinking, "I don't have another option. It's not like I can turn back time." But the goal isn't to shame you or take away your comfort. It's to help you understand what's happening inside your body and offer better alternatives for health, sleep, and yes, even pleasure. Take Harold, 69, widowed for 7 years. He came to me saying he'd lost his desire for everything: food, hobbies, life. We discovered he was relying on nighttime stimulation just to feel something. Through gentle rewiring of his habits, short walks before bed, herbal testosterone support, journaling, and mindfulness techniques, his dopamine regulation returned. So did his energy. So did his sleep. And he told me something that still sticks with me. I didn't know how lonely I was until I stopped distracting myself with it. In the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the 3 biggest mistakes older men make when it comes to solo habits, how to support your prostate naturally without relying on risky meds, and the daily change that's helped hundreds of my patients boost testosterone, circulation, and energy without changing a single supplement. We're just getting started, and I promise, you're not going to hear this information anywhere else. So stay with me, because the next few minutes could completely change the way you feel in your body. Don't forget, your like on this video helps other men over 60 discover this life-changing information. Comment below where you're watching from. I love knowing where my community is growing, and subscribe so you never miss the real truth about men's health. Let's get into the truth, the part no one ever explains clearly. When I talk to men over 60 about their solo habits, one of the first things I hear is, "Doc, I thought it was normal. What's the big deal?" And yes, it's common, but common doesn't mean harmless. Let's break this down into what I call the big 3 mistakes older men unknowingly make when it comes to masturbation, and how each one silently chips away at your hormones, prostate health, and energy levels. Mistake 1: using it to fall asleep. This is probably the most widespread. Many older men use climax as a sleep aid, and on the surface it makes sense. You get a short-term sense of release, your muscles relax, and you might drift off easier. But inside your body, something very different is happening. You're triggering a dopamine spike, followed by a drop, a crash that can actually disrupt your REM cycles. And your sympathetic nervous system, that's your fight or flight mode, gets activated more than your parasympathetic rest and digest system. What does that mean for you? You wake up more often, your deep sleep is lighter, you feel less restored in the morning. Let me tell you about Martin, 66, retired teacher. He told me, "I knock out fast after doing it, but I wake up every 2 hours like clockwork." When we gradually replaced that nightly habit with calming alternatives, magnesium glycinate, warm foot baths, guided sleep stories, his overnight interruptions dropped from 5 to 1. He started waking up actually feeling rested, not groggy. Mistake 2: frequency that doesn't match recovery. In your 20s and 30s, your body could bounce back quickly, but after 60, recovery time changes. Think about this like muscle fatigue. If you were doing bicep curls every day without rest, you'd start to feel weaker, not stronger. Your sexual function works the same way. When the prostate is stimulated daily, especially without full relaxation or emotional connection, it can lead to lower ejaculate volume, weakening of the pelvic floor, decreased libido, slower arousal response, low testosterone feedback loop. A patient named Bill, 71, a former Navy, said it best: "I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I was just doing it, like brushing my teeth. And afterward, I felt more hollow than anything." Once we shifted his focus to quality over quantity, spacing it out, building real intimacy with himself through breathwork and body awareness, things started to come back online. His testosterone actually increased slightly over 6 months, without medication, just habit change. Mistake 3: ignoring the emotional disconnect. This one's subtle but powerful. Many older men masturbate not for pleasure, but for escape, loneliness, boredom, stress. It becomes a tool for numbing, not connecting. That emotional disconnect actually rewires your brain. You start separating pleasure from intimacy. Over time, that disconnect contributes to emotional flatness, erectile desensitization, lowered drive, and in some cases, even mild depression. David, a 74, widowed and living alone, came to me saying, I don't even feel anything anymore. It's like going through the motions. He wasn't broken. He was numb. We worked on small emotional anchors, music from his youth, memory exercises, connection rituals like writing letters to his late wife. It sounds unusual, but within weeks, he reported feeling more present. He smiled more. He reached out to old friends. When you reconnect emotionally, your biology responds. Your brain starts lighting up again, and that includes your pleasure centers. So, what should you do instead? I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to guide you. Here are 3 foundational shifts I want you to try, just for the next 7 days. Shift 1. Replace the nightly habit with sleep anchors. Instead of reaching for stimulation, try building a calming routine. Take magnesium glycinate an hour before bed. Use a warm compress on your lower back or abdomen. Listen to a 10-minute guided meditation with headphones. This tells your nervous system, it's time to rest, not react. Remember Robert from part 1? This change alone improved his deep sleep by 32% according to his sleep tracker. Shift 2. Introduce spacing to regulate hormones. Try spacing out your self-pleasure to once every 5-7 days instead of daily. This gives you prostate time to relax, hormones time to recalibrate brain time to build anticipation. This isn't about control. It's about rebuilding your natural rhythm. Think of it like a well-tuned engine. It runs better when it's not constantly revving. Shift 3. Reconnect with your senses. If you choose to engage in self-pleasure, I want you to slow it down. Make it a conscious experience, not rushed, not automatic. Light a candle. Breathe deeper. Tune into sensation rather than speed. You might feel silly at first, but this is how we retrain the brain to respond with depth instead of just reaction. The unspoken cost of ignoring. Let me be direct. When you ignore how your body's changing, when you rely on old patterns because they used to work, when you don't adapt to what your hormones, sleep, and prostate are trying to tell you, you risk more than just fatigue or poor sleep. You risk prostate swelling that becomes chronic lowered testosterone that affects every part of your life. From motivation to muscle mass, emotional detachment from your own body. But it doesn't have to be that way. Now that you understand what the risks and patterns look like. So I'm going to show you the natural supplements that support healthy prostate function and hormone balance. One morning ritual that resets your dopamine and improves circulation in less than 60 seconds. And the truth about clearing the pipes, why some advice you heard in your 40s could now be harming you. You're on the right path just by being here. Now let's take it a step deeper. You've already learned how solo habits, when left unchecked, can slowly erode your sleep, hormone levels, and prostate health after 60. Now let's shift from the problem to the solution. In the coming minutes, we're going to cover 3 things: natural supplements that support prostate health and hormone balance, a simple 60-second morning ritual that boosts dopamine and circulation, the truth about clearing the pipes, and whether you actually need to ejaculate regularly, and trust me, once you apply what you learn here, you'll begin to feel a very real difference in your body and brain. Let's start with something most men overlook. Prostate support isn't just about peeing easier. You've probably heard of saw palmetto or beta-sitosterol. They're common in men's health supplements, especially those targeting prostate enlargement, BPH. But here's the thing. Most of those formulas are underdosed, or worse, missing critical ingredients that support hormonal balance and inflammation reduction. If you're over 60 and masturbating regularly, you're putting your prostate through repeated contraction and recovery cycles. That gland needs help. So what works? After reviewing hundreds of patient outcomes, these 4 ingredients show consistent support in older men. Pumpkin seed oil, cold-pressed, reduces inflammation and supports healthy urine flow. Pygeum africanum helps shrink enlarged prostate tissue and supports nighttime bladder control. Stinging nettle root supports the hormone conversion process, especially reducing excess DHT, which fuels prostate growth. Zinc, chelated, critical for testosterone production and immune response in the prostate area. Let me give you an example. Warren, 68, former gym teacher, had been waking up 3 to 4 times a night to pee. He assumed it was just part of aging. After 60 days on a targeted supplement blend with those 4 ingredients, plus reducing solo activity to every 7-10 days, his sleep interruptions dropped to once per night. His energy in the morning improved, and his urine stream was stronger. It's not magic, it's biology supported the right way. Now here's something powerful and completely free. Your brain's dopamine levels are at their most sensitive in the morning. What you do in the first 5 minutes can either train your body for energy and clarity, or train it for sluggishness and fog. Most men roll over, check their phone, and maybe relieve some tension. But instead, try this minute morning reset ritual. Sit up in bed, feet flat on the floor, close your eyes, and take 10 slow, deep nasal breaths. At the top of each inhale, hold for 2 seconds. On the last exhale, smile slightly. Yes, this triggers a real neural response. Then get up and walk to a window or step outside. Expose your eyes to natural light for 1 full minute. That's it. Just 1 minute and your brain gets a dopamine and cortisol alignment that sets your tone for the day. Remember Terrence from part 1, the guy with prostate irritation and low drive? We added this reset to his routine. Within 2 weeks, he told me, I stopped reaching for the phone. My mind feels sharper. I actually want to get moving in the morning. It's small, it's free, but it's incredibly powerful. Do you really need to clear the pipes? This one is controversial. For decades, men have been told that regular ejaculation is necessary to prevent prostate issues, but science is finally catching up to the truth. Here's what the research shows. Yes, occasional release may help flush old fluids, but frequency matters less than quality. Chronic high-frequency stimulation, especially without arousal buildup, can lead to inflammation, not relief. So the old idea of just get it out every day or two. That advice may have worked when you were 35, but after 60, your body responds differently. It's like using a garden hose. If the nozzle's cracked and you keep turning the pressure up, you're only worsening the leak. For older men, less frequent, more intentional release, every 7 to 10 days, combined with anti-inflammatory support, leads to better outcomes in prostate comfort, erectile firmness, mood and motivation, testosterone regulation. Real-world example, the firefighter who thought he was losing it. John, 62, retired firefighter, came to me embarrassed. I can still get it up, doc, but sometimes I don't even want to anymore. I used to have drive. Now I feel like a flat tire. He had been using daily masturbation as a kind of emotional stress relief, but it was backfiring, lowering his motivation, increasing his grogginess, and making him feel less like himself. We worked on spacing out the release to once a week, adding nettle root and pumpkin seed oil, practicing the morning reset, and replacing nighttime stimulation with stretching, deep breathing, and sleep audio. The shift? I feel like I'm back in my body, he told me. More calm, more clear. I didn't know how much it was dragging me down. That's the power of understanding your biology and working with it, not against it. Now you might be wondering, okay, doc, I get it. Less frequent, more mindful, support the prostate. Got it. But what about performance? What about bringing the spark back when the moment is right? That's exactly what we'll tackle in the next part. I'll walk you through the 3 biggest myths about sexual performance in men over 60. Why relying on pills like Viagra may be masking deeper issues, and how to rebuild performance and desire using natural blood flow strategies, nervous system resets, and sensory connection. We're about to go from prevention to power, and you're going to feel the difference. You've done the hard part. You've faced the truth about how your body changes after 60. Now it's time to take back control. especially when it comes to performance, desire, and confidence. Let's start by breaking down a few dangerous myths, the kind that quietly steal hope from good men. Myth 1: it's normal to lose it after 60. This one drives me crazy. You hear it from doctors, from buddies, even from yourself. But here's the truth. Yes, your hormones shift, and yes, your arteries aren't quite as elastic as they used to be. But that does not mean your desire, drive, or ability to perform has to disappear. In fact, some of my male patients in their 70s and 80s have better function now than they did in their 50s. Why? Because they finally stopped ignoring the real causes of poor performance: poor blood flow, weak pelvic floor muscles, nervous system burnout, emotional disconnection, and yes, daily solo habits that drain dopamine. Once those are addressed, the lights turn back on. Myth 2: just take a pill. Viagra, Cialis, Levitra. They work, temporarily, but they don't fix the cause. And worse, they can desensitize your response over time, lead to psychological dependency, mask more serious vascular problems, and create a false sense of everything's fine. James, a 64 accountant, came to me with this exact issue. He'd been on Cialis for 4 years, but it stopped working. I used to take half a pill and feel like a new man, he told me. Now I take the full dose and still can't get through it. That's when we ran a full workup. Low nitric oxide, low testosterone, poor sleep. We weaned him off the pills, added beetroot extract, L-citrulline, pelvic floor training, and within 3 months, his spontaneous function returned. No blue pills, just biology supported properly. Myth 3: desire fades with age. No, what fades is the connection to desire. See, your body's arousal system is a feedback loop. It depends on dopamine, anticipation, oxytocin, emotional bonding, blood flow, physical readiness, nerve sensitivity, pleasure perception. But when you numb those systems with frequent solo habits, or rely on shallow stimulation like porn, your real-world sensitivity drops. That's why many men say, I want it, but I just don't feel anything. Greg, 70, retired coach, told me he hadn't felt desire in years. He chalked it up to age. But when we removed screens, slowed down stimulation, rebuilt his physical awareness with breathwork and muscle relaxation, desire came back, like a pilot light finally catching flame. So what actually works? Let's get practical. Here are 3 strategies I teach my patients to rebuild performance naturally. Strategy 1: morning blood flow training. Every morning before your shower, do this 90-second routine. Stand with feet shoulder width apart. Inhale deeply, raise arms overhead. Exhale slowly. While tightening your pelvic floor, hold for 5 seconds. Release. Repeat this sequence 5 times. Why? Because pelvic floor muscles pump blood into your genitals. They're like your sexual engine. Train them. Stronger, firmer, more responsive. This one change alone has helped dozens of my patients regain confidence in bed and even reduce urinary leakage. Strategy 2: nitric oxide boost without drugs. You've probably heard of nitric oxide, the molecule that opens blood vessels. You can stimulate more of it naturally by eating beets, arugula, pomegranate, and watermelon, taking L-citrulline, doing 3 minutes of brisk walking after meals, breathing through your nose, not your mouth. Paul, 73, diabetic, was struggling with both performance and energy. Within 6 weeks of adding these nitric oxide boosters, he had stronger morning erections and better mental clarity, and he stopped depending on his little blue pills. Strategy 3: sensory reconnection practice. Remember when just holding hands made your heart race? That's not gone, it's just hidden. Try this alone or with a partner. Light a candle, turn off distractions, place one hand on your heart, one on your abdomen. Breathe slowly for 2 minutes, then gently touch your own arm, chest, thighs, not sexually, just mindfully. Notice sensation, warmth, texture, emotion. You're retraining your nervous system to feel deeply again. This alone has helped patients like Henry, 66, widower, reconnect with intimacy after years of numbness. I didn't realize how starved I was for touch, he said. Why this all works together. You might be wondering, Dr. Sophia, how does pelvic training, beet juice, and mindful touch actually fix the issue? Because men's sexual function isn't just mechanical, it's vascular, it's neurological, it's emotional, it's hormonal, and most importantly, it's learnable. That's the best part. You don't need to become a different person. You just need to give your body what it's been missing: space to rest, blood flow to thrive, and a connection to feel. You've come a long way, but we're not done yet. In the next part, I'm going to walk you through the nighttime habits that ruin testosterone and prostate health, the real connection between porn, loneliness, and hormone decline in older men, and how to create a simple, powerful evening ritual that helps you sleep deeper, feel stronger, and wake up truly restored. Let's talk about your evenings, because what you do in those quiet hours, when the lights are low, the world is quiet, and you're alone with your thoughts, can either heal your body or slowly wear it down. And the truth is, most men over 60 are unintentionally destroying their testosterone and prostate health every single night. Not because they mean to, but because no one ever told them what's really going on. Let's fix that. What happens to your hormones? At night? Testosterone doesn't just live in your blood all day, it's made at night. Specifically during deep sleep, the slow wave stage of your cycle. That's when your brain signals the pituitary gland to release luteinizing hormone, the message that tells your testicles, make testosterone now. But here's the catch. If your nights are broken by screens, stress, overstimulation, late night snacks, or solo release right before bed, you're disrupting that delicate production window. Let me tell you about Alan. Alan is 69. He runs a small woodworking business from home. He came to me because he felt exhausted, had gained 15 pounds around his waist, and said, "It's like my drive just left the building." His blood work showed borderline testosterone, but nothing alarming. When I asked about his nights, he said, "I stay up late, watch some stuff on my tablet, wind down the usual way, then crash." The usual way was solo release every night. Right after staring at blue light for 2 hours in bed, he was robbing his own testosterone factory every single night. What happens when you watch screens in bed? Your brain is light sensitive. Blue light from phones, tablets, or TVs suppresses melatonin, the hormone that signals it's time to rest. When melatonin stays low, your cortisol, stress hormone, stays high, and cortisol blocks testosterone. So that quick habit of scrolling social media or watching videos in bed, it's quietly wrecking your sleep, your hormone production, and your body's ability to repair itself. Even 20-30 minutes of screen time before bed can delay deep sleep by up to 90 minutes. That's 90 minutes of testosterone loss you can't get back. The hidden link between porn and hormone crash. We need to go there, because even if you don't talk about it, many men use adult content at night, and it's not harmless. Here's what we now know. Repeated exposure to fast, high-stimulation content trains your brain to expect instant dopamine. But over time, the dopamine receptors become less sensitive, which means more stimulation is needed to feel anything. This not only affects your desire, it also disrupts sleep and drops testosterone even further. It's called porn-induced hypofrontality, a real condition where the brain's executive function gets duller with repeated use of overstimulation. And older men are especially vulnerable. Why? Because your natural dopamine production is already lower after 60. Add nightly overstimulation, and your brain stops firing the signals that support testosterone, energy, and emotional connection. So what can you do instead? Here's the good news. You can reverse the damage and reclaim your nighttime power with just a few small changes. Let me walk you through a simple, powerful evening hormone ritual that I teach every man who works with me. Step 1. 60-minute digital cutoff. Turn off all blue light screens at least 1 hour before bed. Instead, use this time for light stretching, listening to calm instrumental music, taking a warm shower, reading a real book, not on a screen. This allows your melatonin to rise so your sleep hormones can do their job. Want a bonus tip? Use warm amber lighting or red bulbs in your bedroom. It signals your brain that night has truly arrived and boosts melatonin even further. Step 2. Prostate calm down. About 30 minutes before sleep, try this. Drink a small cup of chamomile or reishi mushroom tea. Lie on your back with a warm water bottle on your lower belly. Breathe deeply for 5 minutes. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Focus on relaxing the muscles around your pelvis. This is your prostate's version of a cool down lap. It reduces inflammation, calms nerves, and sends the message to your body. We're safe. Time to heal. Step 3. The touchless dopamine reset. This one is subtle, but powerful. Instead of reaching for stimulation, try this. Think of a positive memory, something warm, exciting, or joyful. Close your eyes and breathe that memory in. Let yourself feel the emotion, the sensation, without touching anything. This trains your brain to connect pleasure with presence, not just with action. Over time, this resensitizes your dopamine system, meaning less stimulation gives you more satisfaction. This helps with motivation, mood, and yes, performance. True story. 2 weeks to change everything. Carlos, 65, Vietnam vet, was skeptical when I gave him this ritual. He said, "Doc, I've had these habits for 40 years. You think 2 weeks will change anything?" I smiled and said, "Try it, just 14 nights." He called me on day 11. "I don't know what you did to me. I'm sleeping better. I'm dreaming again. I woke up with morning wood for the first time in years. That's the body healing. That's hormones coming back online. All from changing the way he ended his day. And that leads us to the final step. So far, we've covered the truth about solo habits after 60, how to support your prostate and boost testosterone, how to rebuild performance without pills, and now how your nights hold the key to deeper healing. But there's one last piece of the puzzle, the emotional core of all of this. Because even with the best habits, the best supplements, and the best science, if you don't feel connected to yourself, your body won't fully heal. In the final part, I'm going to show you how to rebuild masculine confidence, even if it's been missing for years, what most older men secretly crave, and how to stop feeling ashamed of it, and how to move forward with strength, dignity, and purpose, no matter what your past looked like. If you're still here, I'm proud of you. That means you're not giving up. You're leveling up. We've talked about your hormones, your prostate, your nervous system, your performance, and even your nighttime habits. But now, in this final part, I want to talk about something deeper. Because for many men over 60, the biggest challenge isn't medical, it's emotional. It's that quiet, heavy feeling you carry when the world slows down. The whisper that says, "I'm not the man I used to be. I've lost something I can't get back." This is just what happens when you get old. Let me tell you something I've told hundreds of men in my office over the last 25 years. You are not broken, you are not done, and it's not too late. Why confidence fades and how to rebuild it. Confidence isn't loud. It's not about having a perfect body or being 25 again. Real masculine confidence is quiet. It's internal. It's earned through action. But here's what happens. Life wears on you. You lose intimacy, a partner, or your physical edge. You stop hearing compliments. You stop feeling wanted, and slowly, you start pulling back from life. The habits we've discussed, nightly stimulation, emotional numbing, isolation, they don't just affect your health, they chip away at your identity. Meet Ernest, 76, former pilot. When I first met Ernest, he sat across from me and said, "Dr. Mills, I'm tired of just existing." He'd lost his wife. He'd had heart surgery. His body wasn't responding the way it used to. He didn't want pills. He didn't want pep talks. He wanted to feel like himself again. We worked slowly on routines, but more importantly, we worked on purpose. I asked him one question that changed everything. What makes you feel useful? That week, he started volunteering to teach kids how to build model planes. By the end of the month, he was sleeping better, smiling more, and, his words, feeling like a man again. That's the real medicine, what you might secretly be craving but never say out loud. You might not admit this, but I know you feel it. You want to feel strong again. You want someone to see you and think, that's a man I respect. You want to wake up and feel like there's something ahead, not just behind. It's not about sex. It's not about muscles. It's about dignity. And here's the beautiful truth. You can reclaim that, one small choice at a time. Start here, the 5-minute confidence builder. Tonight, I want you to do something simple. Look in the mirror, not quickly, not halfway. Really look and say, out loud, I'm still here, I'm still fighting, and I deserve to feel alive. Then, do one thing for yourself. Stretch for 5 minutes, turn your phone off early, write down one thing you're grateful for, or just sit quietly and breathe like your health depends on it. Because it does. That's how confidence comes back, not in a flash, but in a flicker, and flickers become flame. So, where do you go from here? Let's recap what you've done. You learned the truth about masturbation after 60. You discovered how to support your prostate and testosterone. Naturally, you started shifting your nights, your mornings, and your mindset. You faced your fears and took action when most men just look away. That makes you rare. That makes you resilient. That makes you powerful. Even now, especially now. Your next steps. Here's what I want you to do tonight, and every night moving forward. Respect your body, not punish it, not shame it. Follow the rituals, morning reset, evening wind down, pelvic training. Be present with yourself, with your emotions, with your healing. Stay connected. Comment, share, subscribe. Don't disappear. Keep growing, because aging is not a sentence. It's a second chance. And always remember what I tell every patient who walks through my door. Your health isn't gone, it just needs a little help finding its way back. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. You are not alone. You're just a man, standing at the edge of something new. And I'm proud of you for taking that first step with me. Like this video if you learned something real. Comment and tell me, what habit are you changing first? Subscribe to stay connected, because this isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning. Thank you for trusting me. Now go live, with strength, with purpose, and with the confidence of a man who finally understands his body.